Christmas, actually almost a year ago to the day, the James Webb Telescope was sent up into space to replace Hubble, to look as far as possible into the universe. And what they were expecting to see, if the Big Bang Theory was true, was galaxies and stars evolving. Well, I said to my pupils, I tell you what they're going to see. They're going to see fully formed galaxies as far as they look. Because God created the stars and the galaxies ex nihilo. That is out of nothing, fully formed. So I am expecting that telescope will see nothing but fully formed galaxies as far as it can see. Well, the results have come in, and just as I predicted, the telescope has seen only fully formed galaxies. Have they dropped the Big Bang Theory? No. I read a couple of articles, one in the New Scientist and one in the Spectator. Scientists are still clinging on to the Big Bang Theory regardless of the evidence. That is what is happening in evolution. In evolution, we are supposed to believe that random mutations plus time gives us design. Well, I can assure you, random mutations destroys design. Time destroys design, because the second law of thermodynamics says that with time, things go from order to disorder. And by the way, what we're discovering is that biology tells us that we are marvelously and wonderfully made. You know, I studied a man called Anthony Flew, the Richard Dawkins of his day, and he had the grace to change his mind. He says, there is a God. And the reason he says there is a God, 40 years of biochemical research points to design. There are now 1,000 plus scientists who've signed a website scoring Darwin's dissenters, saying there is too much design, there's too much complexity in the biological world for this to come about by evolution. Friends, evolution is false, just as the Big Bang Theory is false. And if I'd remembered, I'd have brought my dinosaur with me. Because the third reason why we can say science confirms the Bible, they've discovered soft tissues in dinosaur bones. My friend Professor Steve Taylor, and I've got a little tract by him, Liverpool University, about 12 weeks ago, at a science conference, submitted half a dozen dinosaur bones for testing. They all had carbon-14. Carbon-14 only lasts thousands of years. My friend, if dinosaur bones contain soft tissue, which lasts only thousands of years, if dinosaur bones contain carbon-14 that only lasts thousands of years, I think a logical conclusion is those dinosaur bones are not millions of years old, but they're only thousands of years old, which confirms that they were laid down in a worldwide flood. And by the way, they found soft tissue in fossils throughout the geological column, right from the bottom to the top. Over 50 scientific papers published in the last 20 years. And yet, the scientific community will not make the obvious conclusion that what we are seeing in the rocks is not evidence for millions of years. It is evidence for a worldwide flood. If God judged the world once with a flood because of sin, we know from the words of Jesus that when he returns, and I read this in my reading yesterday in Revelation, a very chilling phrase. It's in chapter 1 of Revelation, and it talks about the return of Jesus. And it says the nations will wail when they see Jesus. And why will the nations wail? Because they had the offer of salvation. They had the offer of freedom from sin. They had the offer of eternal life.